It's a Women's Health Wednesday, and today we're talking about our thyroids and how and why certain foods impact thyroid health. We have Dr. Tara Provost and wellness coach Ashley Sorensen joining us again today. Thank you so much for coming in. I want to start just right away. We talk a lot about the thyroid, but if people, sometimes people ask, well, where is the thyroid and why do we need to talk about the thyroid? Can we start there?
Absolutely. So the thyroid is a little gland that's located just right under the cartilage in your neck right there. And it's for such a little gland, it's a little butterfly-shaped gland, and it is important for the metabolism of our entire body. So it actually is kind of the engine that runs the mitochondria of every cell in your body. So it's really important when it comes to metabolism and hormone balance, energy levels, weight, maintaining weight, and things like that. So that's why we wanted to touch on it. Is we both have on a daily basis people asking questions about the thyroid. So that was something we wanted to touch on today.
And the graphic that you have, hypothyroidism. What are we talking about there? That's a mouthful.
So hypothyroidism, just basically fancy word for low thyroid function.
Okay.
Meaning that being sluggish, it's being lazy, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. So there is just kind of low thyroid function, but there's also an autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's, which is where the body actually attacks the thyroid, and that's the reason that it isn't functioning optimally. And so when looking at labs and having testing done, general labs usually just look at a TSH, which stands for thyroid stimulating hormone, but it's really important to get a complete lab panel to know what it is that you're addressing, because it makes a big difference when I'm looking at the diet component and helping to support the thyroid through diet and supplements. So that's with Hashimoto's, the big thing is to stay away from gluten. So that's where
I did notice that right away. I said I love my gluten. Ashley, maybe you could touch a little bit more on why gluten is something you should avoid and what are some of the other things?
Yeah, so gluten, especially with Hashimoto's, like Tara was saying, to stay away from that. It disrupts the normal function, I guess, of the thyroid and for the optimal levels of where we want. So by eliminating some of these foods, we can better support the thyroid to actually function how it should. Like coffee even suppresses that thyroid. So and any other stimulants too. Some of the other like the goitrogens we have. So the substance in some of these like soy, even cruciferous vegetables. So again, we think, broccoli is so great, and yes, it is, but it does have these goitrogens in it. But by cooking it, I guess breaks it down, so it won't have an effect on your thyroid.
So is it do you have to eliminate completely or just maybe cut down on some of these things?
Moderation.
Okay.
Yeah, moderation is the key. And again, like Ashley said, even if it's just like doing a quick steaming of broccoli for dinner rather than having like a raw broccoli with dip or something like that. Just a light steaming or blanching will help to break down that component that has a negative effect on the thyroid gland.
You mentioned weight loss that gets everybody's attention, but the list of symptoms is quite lengthy, and people might think, well, fatigue, I'm tired all the time, or I just can't lose weight. There may be something to it. It may be your thyroid, not just that you're not getting enough sleep. These symptoms are real.
Yes, absolutely. So, and that's, there's, quite the list there, going pretty much everything from head to toe of just brain fog, hair loss, especially at the edges of the eyebrows, noticing loss of the eyebrows, dry skin, things like that. And so just kind of, if you're noticing there's just something doesn't feel right, have some basic blood work done. Like I said, a TSH, but also looking at free T3, free T4, and the TPOs, which are the autoimmune antibodies. So we're going to have a list of the labs on the Fargo Women's Wellness page. And then in a couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about the foods to incorporate to support the thyroid.
Okay, you mentioned your page. That's on Facebook. Any other ways to get a hold of you guys? Because these aren't just the basic tests that insurance covers either, though.
They are, yeah. So I do blood work in my office, Crossroads Vitality Natural Health, and I do the blood draws right there, bill it through insurance. And so that's the nice thing, is that I'm able to do everything rather than relying on someone else who might not necessarily order all of the things that I want to see.
a great discussion again today. The thyroid's so important, especially for women's health. Thank you, ladies, for coming in today. And in 2 weeks, we're talking even more about our thyroids and some positive things that we should eat. All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more here on North Dakota Today.